there's a connection between your mouth and your internal through your gateway of your gum tissue, which is very vascular. Also the saliva and swallowing your natural bacteria into your gut. So there's two different gateways. And then obviously there's that connection of your gut and your brain, which people talk about the leaky gut, but I talk about the leaky mouth because it really does start in your mouth. And if you have leaky gut, there's a very good chance that you have leaky mouth, which means the infection and the bacteria is getting into your vascular system right through your gum tissue.
Welcome to the Healthy Skin Show with Jennifer Fugo, where we're flipping everything you've been told about your chronic skin issues upside down and connecting you with alternative solutions your dermatologist never told you about.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 20 of the Healthy Skin Show. Today's guest, who's a friend of mine, our interview went a little long. So, in lieu of taking questions today from our community, I figured we would allow for plenty of time to get through what I feel is a very critical part of the conversation if you're serious about supporting the microbiome. And as we know from plenty of conversations, that your gut and your skin are connected, but what many people forget about is what's living in their mouth. And so today's guest, Trina Felber, we're going to discuss how what is going on in your mouth's microbiome is just as important to your skin as what's going on in your gut. Let's jump in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we've got a colleague and friend of mine joining us talking about a really interesting connection between how skin issues can result because of an imbalance in the gut. And you probably have never thought about this, but it's an important one. So stay with us on this. So my friend, Trina Felber, she's the creator and CEO of Primal Life Organics, a premier all-natural dental care company that focuses on oral health as a gateway to internal health. So you guys know I talk a lot about how there's this really precise connection between what's going on in your gut and your skin, right? So it's important that we know this going in. Now, Trina believes that the antiseptic products we use in our mouths are doing more harm than good, and I agree with her. After 25 years as a registered nurse, so she's well schooled in conventional medicine, guys, Trina transformed into an oral health expert. She created natural products to biohack your dental health for stronger, cleaner, whiter teeth and improve overall health. Her entrepreneurial skills and business savvy mindset are an inspiration to women everywhere. Trina, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I love talking about the skin and how it relates to internal health. And I know that we've had conversations before, and I know that this is this is how we both geek out. So this is going to be so fun.
I know. And I love the fact that and actually, would you mind sharing what you shared with me a moment ago before we started? You got started working in the burn unit. So you have a really interesting perspective on skin and healing skin. I know that a lot of us are dealing with burns, but what kind of perspective did that give you, or appreciation for just the power of skin?
Yeah, well, when I was in nursing school, I was a nursing assistant and I got a job in the burn center. And that's where I fell in love with the burn center, not necessarily the trauma of it, because it is really traumatic, but the healing aspect of it. So then as a registered nurse, I worked for my first probably 8 years of my career in the burn center. And what I saw firsthand was damage to the skin. I saw exactly what happens when your skin is damaged to the inside. There is that total connection. When you lose your skin, that's your first line of defense. It has a lot to do with your immune system, and almost every organ is impacted by your skin. So it's almost like the reverse psychology of what we talk about when we talk about internal health reflecting into your skin. It's also the perspective that your skin is protective of every single organ. So there is that total two-way connection between your skin and your internal organs. And what I fell in love with, or what I think, looking back, hindsight's 2020 and you can connect the dots later. Now, as I connect the dots, I look back and say, what I learned from working in the burn center is that even though the skin can be damaged and traumatized, it can repair itself. It might not look as beautiful as it did originally, but there is that repairing element. And that's what drew me into finding ways to make your skin healthier, more from the inside, preventing the damage on the outside. Just knowing that when there is damage on the outside, your skin is autoprotective, it's an organ, and it can heal.
Yeah, and one of the really interesting connections that I've made in my clinical practice working with people who have these chronic skin rash issues, and they're so frustrated, they've tried elimination diets, they have gotten rid of all the really nasty chemicals out of their home and their body care products and all sorts of stuff, but they just don't fully understand that we'll just say that the gut itself is a lot more complicated than just food. And we have to look deeper to that microbiome piece. And this is what I love is that, yes, there's a microbiome on the skin. Yes, there's a microbiome in the gut, which there's lots to be learned online just about the gut microbiome, but there's also a microbiome in your mouth. And so it's really neat that you kind of made this leap. You've worked in skincare and you're now really doing something novel in oral care. So talk to us a little bit about how the oral microbiome could impact things further downstream in the gut, and potentially, like, why do we really need to be mindful of what's going on with the oral microbiome?
Well, as you know, we've been brainwashed into believing that all germs are bad. And we've been brainwashed into thinking that when you go buy a product off the shelf that says kills 99% of bacteria or germs, bacteria, germs, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. We believe that that's a good thing. And we don't realize that when it's killing 99% of the germs inside your mouth, you're destroying not just the bad stuff, but the good stuff. And in reality, as you know, and as we're learning and people are becoming more educated, if you have a good balance of your good bacteria, it actually keeps the bad bacteria at bay. The living environments for both types of bacteria is a little bit different. So bad bacteria can't always thrive in an environment where the environment is healthy. It thrives in more of an acidic type of environment or a lack of the good bacteria. So just going on that basis, looking at the dental products that we typically use, we use products that we wash our mouth outs with that kills 99% of the bacteria. We use toothpaste and products that kill the bacteria using triclosan and other harsh ingredients like SLS. And when you're doing that, what you're doing is destroying really the beginning of your gut biome. If you stop and think about it, it's a long tube that goes from your mouth all the way down and out. And that whole tube is meant to create or have or house bacteria. And the bacteria that is in your mouth is completely different than the bacteria that's in your gut. But here's the connection that I've made recently. For people that have started to work on their gut, you've seen some health benefits. You've seen, symptoms have gotten better. You're taking probiotics, things are better, but they're not back to where they should be. And the link that's missing is the fact that there's this connection from here to here. And if you're still destroying everything up here, this bacteria is really important because when you swallow and salivate, you're constantly all day, you're salivating. And your saliva does a couple things. It's supposed to neutralize acids in your mouth. It's supposed to help wash away food particles and clean your teeth. The other important thing that it does that nobody understands or realizes or thinks about is that when you swallow, it carries the good bacteria that lives in your mouth into your gut and feeds and seeds that. So if you're destroying and sterilizing your mouth with products that contain bactericidal type of ingredients, you're killing your good bacteria. And when you swallow, you're missing that important point. So whatever is happening down here is missing the bacteria that is supposed to thrive up here.
And I think that is one of the most important points because it's interesting. I was saying, I have these clients that come to me with chronic skin rashes. They've tried everything and they're frustrated. They're like, I've seen people improve with just changing their diet and it didn't work for me and I'm still suffering. And inevitably, we discover that there's some combination of gut dysfunction as well as some sort of dysbiotic state within the gut. And people don't realize is that the issue does, you're absolutely right, it does start in your mouth. And I also want to cite some interesting research, and I'm happy to put a link to this in the show notes as well, just for anybody that's looking for more information on this. But there is data that is showing us now that you could actually begin with an H. pylori infection in your mouth. So if you're basically annihilating the microbiome in your mouth, the bad bacteria, candida, all of these opportunistic bugs, they come back faster than the good bugs.
Oh, absolutely. And H. pylori is something that we all house. Like you can normally have that in your mouth. It's when, and your good bacteria will keep it at bay. That's the whole point of not destroying your good bacteria on your skin, in your gut, and in your mouth, is that when you have these other bugs that could potentially cause problems, they don't have the opportunity to cause problems because you have a good immune system. Your immune system can fight it. The other interesting thing is it affects your gum tissue and the pockets in your gums. So if you don't have good bacteria, the bad bacteria can hide in the pockets in your gums and enter into your bloodstream and cause internal infection. There has been a link between poor dental health. And when I say poor dental health, I don't mean that you're not brushing your teeth, because most people do. What I mean is poor dental health means that the condition inside your mouth is not favorable for preventing cavities and preventing gum disease and inflammation. And when you have a poor environment inside your mouth, and that can be caused by the products that you're just using the wrong products. And if you make a simple switch to something different that's more natural, going to allow your natural biome to restore, you're going to notice that your gum tissue thrives and gets better and more toned, so you don't have pockets and you don't have bleeding gums and gingivitis. There's less chance of those bacteria entering into your vascular system through your gum tissue. And when I was mentioning there's been a link between that inflammation in your gum tissue to heart disease and inflammatory diseases like diabetes and autoimmune diseases and things like that. So really, when you're taking oral health and looking at it, it's much bigger than just your mouth. There's a connection between your mouth and your internal through your gateway of your gum tissue, which is very vascular. Also the saliva and swallowing your natural bacteria into your gut. So there's two different gateways. And then obviously there's that connection of your gut and your brain, which people talk about the leaky gut, but I talk about the leaky mouth, because it really does start in your mouth. And if you have leaky gut, there's a very good chance that you have leaky mouth, which means the infection and the bacteria is getting into your vascular system right through your gum tissue.
And actually, too, this disruption in the mouth microbiome, if you've got low stomach acid, which about 90 to 95% of all my clients have, that means that as you swallow all of that bad bacteria, it's passing right through the stomach. And voila, you end up with bacteria either stuck in the small intestine, so you end up with SIBO, which you don't want, and can be a trigger for rosacea and all sorts of skin issues. And I have a few experts, I'll link those talks up, who've discussed that. And it can also mean that you've got gut bugs that you didn't want in your colon that are now wreaking total and complete havoc, because there was no gate to prevent them from getting into the system, to stop them essentially. And you're like, how did I get this infection? Well, you got a disruption in the mouth and they pass right through the stomach because there's not enough acid.
It's hard to make the connection until you stop and hear a talk like this that you're talking about, that we're discussing. It's really hard to make the connection between your mouth and your skin. It really is. But when you stop, and I've had a lot of customers who have changed oral care to something that's natural without even realizing you're restoring your good biome, you're changing the environment inside your mouth, your teeth are stronger, your enamel is thicker, so you're going to have whiter teeth, and you're allowing your good bacteria to thrive into your stomach, and then that changes things into your gut, and then your skin shows difference. Obviously it's going to take a couple months, weeks to months before you see the external change, because it all works through inside to outside. But people have noticed that when they change their oral care, they do get better skin in the long run. And that's why.
What should we be looking for then, as opposed to, the typical brands that you can buy at pretty much any grocery store or pharmacy, especially ones I think like alcohol is not a good ingredient to have in, say, your mouthwash.
Yeah, you really, you know what, to be honest with you, you just want to stay away from pretty much anything that you're buying off the shelf that's a commercial brand, because most likely it's all fillers and the active ingredient would be the toxic ingredients like fluoride and triclosan. Everything else in there is kind of a filler. And really, when you get down to it, even like fluoride's just not good for you. It's a neurotoxin. It's going to do internal damage. All of those ingredients in there, they can cause cancer. They're really only put in there to clean your teeth, but they're not doing anything to promote the longevity of your teeth. So really, in my study, so this is how can I give a quick little background on how I developed the products that I developed? Starting out, when I was in my late 30s, I started to have teeth that were chipping. I had 2 teeth within a month of each other that kind of broke. And I was like, oh gosh, is this what happens as you're getting older? I didn't know. I didn't think much about it. I didn't really do anything. I didn't do much research because just busy and things go on. But when I had my daughter, and at the age of 2, she developed a molar. A molar came in that had a natural defect in it, which was a natural cavity. It happens in utero most of the time when the mother has some sort of like inflammation or fever or something like that. It happens at the split moment that a tooth is being developed, and it develops like a natural cavity. Normally it happens on both sides of the mouth because the 2 teeth are developing at the same time. Hers was just one, but it was a pretty significant cavity or molar that had this defect in it. So we took her to the dentist, and the dentist looked at it and said, you know what, that's pretty severe. We're going to put a temporary filling in it, but chances are pretty good that she's going to lose that molar within a year. So I started doing some research and realized that if I continued to use the products that we were using to brush our teeth back then, there was really going to be no hope for that tooth, because the teeth are made up of minerals. And if you're not replacing the minerals that you're losing, your teeth are kind of like your bones. The minerals can go in and out, an influx and outflux. And it depends on the environment inside your mouth as to what's happening. Bacteria feeds off sugar, which creates acids, and the acids can create plaque. And between the acids and the plaque, you lose the minerals faster. And if you're not replacing them with minerals, and it has to be mineral ions, then you're not going to be restoring your teeth. So basically what happened is I found Weston Price, and I found a lot of the research that he's done. I figured out that clay is the perfect medium. It's very gentle. It's not abrasive. It gently cleanses the teeth. It detoxifies your gum tissue. It does not destroy your natural biome. It's really gentle. You can take it as an internal cleanse as well. But most importantly, it had minerals in it. In the ion form, it has calcium and phosphorus and manganese and all the good minerals that your teeth are made up of. And when you're brushing your teeth, that's the perfect time to put the minerals back in, because the surface has to be clean. Here's what happens sometimes, or a lot of times with commercial products, is they have ingredients in them that put like a Band-Aid. I can show you guys really quick. This is a tooth. The harder outside part is your enamel. That's the hardest surface. As you age, your enamel can get thinner and your dentin will show through. A lot of times that's why people, as they get older, will have more yellowish teeth. It's because your enamel's getting thinner. It can be due to foods that you're eating and stains too, but sometimes it's just the fact that your enamel's getting thinner. And that happens over time because we're just not restoring the mineral content that we're losing. So the enamel's the hardest part, and then you've got your dentin inside, and then the pulp. What happened with my daughter is she had a natural defect, which is what this black spot is. With commercial toothpaste, when you start to get a sensitive spot on your tooth or a soft spot that gives you that zing or that sensitivity to hot and cold foods, that is a signal that your tooth has mineral loss or pits in it or holes in it, whatever you want to say. If it continues, you will end up with a cavity. You can reverse it at that point by restoring the minerals. What commercial tooth products do is they put a Band-Aid coating over that so you don't feel the sensitivity, but you're not going to be able to restore the tooth because there's no minerals in the content of the toothpaste.
That's fascinating.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
All the while, not only are you not restoring that tooth or any of your teeth, because if you have one tooth that's like that, chances are that tooth is living in the environment that all the other teeth are in. Your other teeth are heading down that same path, as well as your gum tissue. So there's a way to stop that and reverse that, but you have to change the environment inside your mouth, because the products that you're using are not only not healing your teeth, but they're also they're harsh on your gum tissues, and they're destroying your natural bacteria. So what I found is that clay, it's just perfect. It doesn't harm your good bacteria. It will help prevent the overgrowth of bad bacteria. It pulls toxins that you don't want out of your gum tissue. It whitens your teeth because it naturally attracts the stains, and it can remineralize your teeth. So that's what I created. This is my Dirty Mouth Tooth Powder, which is a powder-based, a clay-based toothpaste or tooth cleaner to brush your teeth with. And you use it in place of toothpaste. You simply just dip your toothbrush in, wet or dry. Nothing grows in clay. It's antimicrobial. So you can either scoop some out and dip your brush into your palm, or just dip your brush right in. Most people just dip their brush right in.
I do.
It's
nothing
simple.
grows in there. Yeah, it's super easy. Yeah.
And then you just brush for 2 minutes, and it's so good for your teeth. Most people report if they have sensitive teeth. So here's the thing. If you have sensitive teeth and you start brushing with Dirty Mouth Tooth Powder, it will wash away or take away that Band-Aid coating. So you might have an increase in sensitivity to your teeth initially. Most people report within 2 days their sensitivity is gone. And that's how powerful the mineral content is, and how powerful if you just put the minerals back in and brush every single day with a clay-based tooth powder, you're going to be restoring those minerals every time you brush.
That's awesome. And I can actually attest to that. I started to do an experiment after I got my first cavity about 1.5 years ago.
That was your first cavity?
Yes, first cavity ever. I freaked out. I didn't like the whole drilling experience, and I was like, okay, I got to change something. And that was when I switched to more of this clay-based powder situation. And I have to tell you, I had no idea whether it was working. Went back to the dentist 6 months later after I had started this regimen, and she's like, "What? Did you get your teeth cleaned since you were in the last time?" And I'm like, "No." Who gets their teeth cleaned more than they have to?
Right.
And she's like, "You have barely any tartar on your teeth."
Clay it removes tartar. There's like less acid buildup, less plaque, and it keeps it soft. So when you're brushing, you can remove the plaque. Plaque doesn't have to, it's not normal to have plaque on your teeth. It's not meant to be there. And it's all about the environment inside your mouth. And what's interesting too is if you tell your dentist, most dentists don't understand clay-based. They weren't trained in it. They don't know necessarily about remineralization. Most dentists, unless they're a holistic dentist, don't believe in repairing the teeth. So most of the time they'll tell you, don't stop what you're doing. And then when you tell them what you're doing, they're like, oh, I don't think you should be doing that. Even though they tell you your teeth look better, they just don't understand it. So don't be surprised if you change to tooth powder, a clay base, and you get a really great checkup. And then they go, oh, you probably shouldn't be using that.
Exactly.
They just don't understand it.
They don't. But I will tell you this, after 3 consecutive visits now, I have completely transformed my dentist, who's a conventional dentist, their mindset. They actually started looking into the effectiveness of clay-based tooth powders and started recommending them to their clients. So know that, and that was just from me. It was such a huge change.
Oh, I have dentists all the time contacting me. Yeah, absolutely. I have another product. It's the LED teeth whitener that I created that has red and blue. It's a cool therapy thing for your teeth. It's got red and blue LED lights. It plugs right into your cell phone. But what's really cool, unlike conventional teeth whitening systems that you use peroxide that actually change the biome, kill your natural biome, destroy your gums, and it actually weakens your teeth and it dehydrates your teeth, which causes a brighter change in your color. And you don't really want to dehydrate your teeth, trust me. So what I did was it's an activated charcoal whitening gel, and it uses activated charcoal. It uses olive oil. But the cool thing is I actually put some clay in here, because the best way to remineralize your teeth is to have the clay or the minerals in contact. That's the only way to do it. You can't take a supplement to remineralize your teeth and improve anything inside your mouth. It has to happen inside your mouth. It's a completely different environment than inside your body. So I put the clay in here so that while you're whitening your teeth, you're actually putting those minerals back in it as well. And I have dentists like all day long wanting to know like more information. And so we're getting on board with holistic dentists and stuff like that.
Well,
So
and I know too that the red and blue therapy is also good for the gums and helping to tighten up the gums. I believe you had initially shared that with me, which is really important because so many people as they age start to develop those deep pockets, more gingivitis. I mean, my mother constantly has to go get her teeth scaled and all sorts of stuff. So it's nice to be able to have those types of options. And because, guys, by the way, I know you're hearing us say, if you're just listening to the audio of this, let me show you. I also am going to include the video presentation of this interview, so you can head right over to this podcast post and you can check out. I'll definitely make sure to show you guys all of this stuff because Trina, man, she's got props. I love it.
Well, you know, when you're talking about the red light therapy, what's cool is we've got 4 red lights on the LED. They're on the back of the LED. The red light will penetrate, like you said, into your gum tissue. It speeds wound healing. It decreases inflammation. It decreases the overgrowth of bad bacteria. It doesn't harm your good bacteria. And it really creates an environment of healing for your gums. And the blue light is set to destroy bad bacteria, but not good bacteria, and whiten your teeth. So it's really a great therapy type of device. It's not just whitening your teeth, which is great. Everybody wants whiter teeth. So that's the best selling point about it. But the best thing for you is it's going to improve your overall health, including your gut health, because you're going to be creating an environment inside your mouth that allows good biome. And that is the start of your good intestinal health.
Yep, exactly. Well, Trina, we have kept you long enough. I really deeply appreciate you sharing all of this. And, you know, guys, listen, I felt very passionate about sharing Trina's story as well as what she does because transitioning to this like a year and a half ago changed my dental health. And because I've had so many clients that have this consistent problem, I really feel like if you're listening to this and you're wondering where to start, this is a great spot to start. I know you think like, but my teeth, how's that going to help my skin? But it is all connected. Everything is connected. The skin is more than just the skin. So this is an excellent place to begin transitioning your health over to a more supportive, microbiome friendly state. And Trina, I know that you, as so kind as you are, you have a little gift to give everybody. You got a coupon code for everybody if they want to go check your stuff out and give it a test drive. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I have what I call the dental starter package. First of all, you can check out the LED teeth whitening system. Depending on when this airs, we always have a sale on this. So right now I know it's 50% off the retail price. So if anybody wants to check it out. But if you want to get started with the dental starter kit, it contains one of my 1 month supplies of the Dirty Mouth tooth powder. It contains one of my charcoal toothbrushes, which has the charcoal infused right into the bristles. It's a soft bristled toothbrush. The charcoal helps to break down plaque and whiten your teeth a little bit more effectively. It also has a tongue scraper. If you haven't scraped your tongue, you're missing out on something. So that helps to remove the bacteria load off your tongue. And it also has my Boost Gum Serum for your gum health that will help improve the tone of your gums, speed cell turnover and repair, decrease inflammation. So if you have any gum issues, even if you don't, it's really good. And then it also has a lip balm. So you can get $10 off the dental starter kit.
Cool. Thank you. And we will have all of that over on the post for this podcast. That way you guys will be able to go and just get access to all of this stuff. I'll have links to everything, all these different products that Trina mentioned. So it's really easy for you guys to find. Trina, thank you again so much for sharing your story, why you fell in love with the skin in general. That's an amazing experience to have had, and then transitioning into this world of helping people with the beginning of their microbiome is awesome. And thank you. I hope we can have you back sometime.
Oh, thanks, Jennifer. I just want to add one last thing.
Go ahead.
So you can find me at primallifeorganics.com. I'm all over social media and everything like that. But I just want to mention the end of the story. My daughter is now 10 years old, and that tooth that was supposed to be pulled within a year is still in place. And that original filling is still there. So, and my teeth ever since I've switched and I had those breaking teeth before I started doing this, my teeth are super, super strong. So it does make a difference. It changes the environment inside your mouth. My health got better. So it's really worth investigating your oral care because it does affect every internal aspect as well as your skin.
Absolutely. And I have had no more cavities. Well, I hope it's one and done. Thanks, Trina.
Thanks, Jennifer, for having me.
I don't know about you guys, but I was very excited and super pumped to have that conversation with Trina. It's something that I believe in wholeheartedly and have noticed a huge change in my mouth and dental health since focusing on my oral microbiome. And it's something that I would encourage each and every one of you to think about seriously because what goes on in your mouth does affect things further downstream. Everything that Trina and I discussed, all of the links, everything you want to check out is in today's show notes. So go over to the post for this podcast and check it out. In the meantime, I really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to diving deeper with you into what the heck's going on with your skin and how we can rebuild healthier skin in our next episode. See you then.